Alright everybody, welcome back to the second episode of Artistic Visionaries presents the Entertainment Roundtable. Once again, my name is Anthony Grant. On my left I have
Oral Ellis.
And on my far right I have
Cedric Dumornay.
And today we are joined by
I'm Tito.
the last name
Rogers.
joined by Tito Rogers, who is also an actor. Tito, just give them maybe like a few minutes, just kind of give them background, like who you are, like how long you've been in LA, that kind of thing.
I've been here for 5 years. From Florida.
Okay. What part of Florida?
Oh, the Panhandle,
Yeah.
like Pensacola, Panama City.
Okay.
I'm from there.
And what brought you out to LA?
Movies.
Okay. Alright, well for today's topic we're going to be discussing moving out to LA. What that looked like for all of us, what we were told, what the reality of the situation was like. Maybe just like a brief breakdown of our living situations, whether it be currently or in the past. So Oral, we'll start with you. Actually, no, we'll start with Cedric today.
Mm-hmm.
And Cedric, tell us, when it came to moving to LA, what were you told about LA in terms of expenses?
Well, I was told that LA was going to be very expensive, and I was told that I was actually turned away from moving to LA. You know, people kept saying, "Oh, you shouldn't go there because life is going to be difficult and it's not as easy as it seems," and that I was chasing a dream that's almost impossible. But when I came here, it wasn't that hard. Like, I came here with, I think, $900. $900 because that was my first month's rent. I was subletting my friend's studio because she wanted to go to Florida to see her parents. And people said it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult to make a living. So I never really worked a regular job. I always worked in the industry as a production assistant, or sometimes I even do commercial background or even TV background. But yeah, everyone had these preconceived notions of, I don't know if it's because they heard it somewhere or people told them that it was going to be difficult and all the challenges that are out here. There are some challenges, but I mean, it is difficult, but it's not hard to manage.
So you don't think that a lot of their advice kind of came from like personal experiences?
Yeah, I almost feel like it's like I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if it's because, I mean, I've had people who came here and then they went back home. Maybe it didn't work out for them, and because it didn't work out for them, then they're like, well, it's not gonna work out for you. But that's not the case.
Okay.
You know, yeah, I've had a lot of people who were here before and then they went back to Florida. And I'm like, why are you back? Well, I'm like, well, it didn't work out, or I wasn't going out on auditions, or I couldn't. Most importantly, I couldn't pay rent, or I couldn't match up all the expenses because you have classes, you have rent, you have bills, you have car payments, you have insurance, you have all these things that you have to pay.
Yeah.
And you're not working a 9-to-5 job because you can't work a 9-to-5 job because you have to go on auditions. So, yeah, I guess maybe that's why they came back. I know a lot of friends who would come back to save money to go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
They kind of went out and they didn't have enough.
You say
They didn't have enough as they needed to kind of stay.
Yeah, because I have two friends who came here with $10,000, and they're struggling even more than I am. I came here with $900.
So let me ask you. So how did you make the $900? So how did you make the $900? Like, explain to me like your first month in LA. How does the $900 for first month rent lead to month 2 and month 3?
So like, I had a talk with my parents, and we basically said, okay, so because I was a med student before, I was in medical program, and I decided to go to theater because I was like, this is what I wanted to do. And so we said, okay, so you're gonna go for a month. Your first month's paid. It was all because of a small commercial I'd done, and that's where I got like, I think it was like $1,500, and I paid my card to be sent over there from that, and like other expenses. And so when I got here, I knew once I got here I had to start working, because I knew that the next month I had to make money to pay for the next month. And so I started doing background.
Okay.
But luckily, there's this agency out here called Extra Extra Casting, and they only do SAG commercial background, so which is about $348 a day, which can easily go up to $1,400 if you're working over 12 hours, and or over 16 hours, sorry. And luckily, I had already gotten with them because I did a commercial with them in Florida, and so when I got here, I was already in the agency, so I could already start working, and that's how I started making
Money
to keep paying every month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Or what about you? So describe to me like what you were told about moving to LA, and then the like what you were told about what it takes to move to LA, what you actually moved to LA with, and then of course like your first living situation.
Well, I really didn't know anybody who lived in LA,
Okay.
so I didn't talk to anybody that had a personal experience or anything like that. But I read a lot of blogs and stuff like that, and they say you have to have this amount of money in order to make it and all that stuff. Then I had people close to me, just tell me they're like, well, LA is expensive, so you wanna carry this amount of money so you don't come back. And some people gave me like 3 months. There's like, you'll be back home in 3 months. And I'm like, nah. But anyway, yeah, the little bit of money I did save up, after I paid my rent and plane tickets and all that stuff, I was left with $50 in my pocket.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, $50. So I did an Airbnb. I paid for the first month, and I ended up staying in that Airbnb for a year. So that's how that worked out with me finding a place before I got here.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was long term. So I did the Airbnb. My first couple months I rented a car. Yes. So when I reached LA, I rented a car, and after I paid for that car and everything, that's when I was left with the $50. And I just got straight to work. And I was doing background stuff. I went to Central Casting and I was doing background stuff. And I just was doing that consistently. And that's how I was making money. I didn't have an agent or anything yet. So I wasn't worried about auditioning and all that stuff.
It's kind of like survival mode.
Yeah. So it was just so I can get my money up and get money back in my pocket and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Tito, how about you? How was your what were you told about moving to LA in terms of expenses? How did you manage to get to LA? And how did you stay in LA those first couple of months?
Man, well, before moving out here, this is from everyone. I'm not even lying. They're like, you're not gonna book anything, right? They're like, you're gonna get Gardner number 2. So, straight to the point from everybody. Gardner number 2, you're gonna get a lawnmower man. I was like, oh my God. Thanks guys. But I came anyways with my friend. He slept in the car. I drove out here,
Mm-hmm. Oh, you drove here?
I drove here, yeah. I got in my car, I drove.
Oh, how many days did it take?
Oh man, I went through, I sped, so it took me 2.5 days
Okay.
to get over here from the Panhandle.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah. I drove through a hurricane and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, man. But now, yeah, man. I got out here. What was the second question again?
So
I got the part you're asking about my.
Yeah. So expense wise, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
Did anybody tell you okay, how much it might cost to live out here? How much did you go out there with?
Oh, dude, I had no. I mean, my manager from Florida. I met a guy there, an actor from the same management who was moving to LA. But I didn't really know him that well. I was like, hey, can I live with you? He said yeah, so I just went with that. And I lived on his floor. I had an air mattress.
Wow.
That I filled up. So I lived on an air mattress for 6 months in his living room. And then I got my first job was a grocery store. So if you're moving out here and you're like me, you're really mixed and no one knows exactly what you are, stay silent during your interviews. I kid you not, I never said I could speak Spanish, but restaurants and stuff, I would walk in and they just assumed I speak Spanish, so they would hire me. But I wouldn't say anything, but until, every place I worked at, every time, Tito, I mean, he doesn't help my name's Tito. But like they would bring me over. Okay, we need you to talk to this person. I'm like, I don't know how to speak Spanish. They're like, what? What do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude. I'm black.
Wow.
I can't help it, man. But yeah.
Okay, so that was your experience.
That was my experience, yeah.
So,
I lived on a floor.
6 months living on an air mattress on the floor, making LA $50 to his name, and then enough money for the first month's rent.
What about you, man?
My story. So I did know a couple people that lived out here in LA. I think I talked to you as well briefly about moving out to LA, and I kind of just got a couple of different people's opinions and made a decision based off of the common answer, which is like it is expensive, and you probably need like some type of savings to kind of like last out here in case you can't find a job or whatever the case may be. So one of my friends, she had lived out here longer than Cedric had, and she was like, you need 10 grand.
$10,000?
$10,000.
What?
So you need $10,000. So I was like, I don't know about no 10,000. I don't want no 10,000. But I had talked to her back. I think I moved out here 2016, 2015. So I spoke to her like late 2014, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna save for almost a year, and whatever I have around the time I'm ready to move out, that's what I'll move out with. So by the time I was ready to move out to LA, I think I had like $5 grand. And my parents gave me a little bit of extra money as well to kind of get me started. And I ended up transferring my job at the time to a store out here as well. So I had a job pretty much lined up. I had some type of savings in case I couldn't find anything. And I was renting out a room in a house up in Sunland when I first moved out here.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so for those who don't know about Sunland, so when we were talking, like I was talking to the person whose house I was renting from, and you know, like you're on Craigslist, and we'll talk about Craigslist later. Craigslist is like the do or die place to find places to live.
Craigslist is dope.
Yeah, so they presented Sunland as this place where it's like it's not too far from anything. You can just hop right on the freeway and get to Burbank and get to these different places, which is true. You can hop on the freeway and get to Glendale from Sunland. You can get to Burbank from Sunland, but Sunland is not close. Sunland is close by freeway and freeway only. So if you're taking back streets, now you're talking 30-40 minutes to get to any of those places that they just talked about. You know, so I didn't realize that at first. So I'd be in Sunland, and it's like I wouldn't be close to anybody. Like I wasn't far, but I wasn't close to anybody. And for what I was paying to rent out the rooms, like it was cool, you know, like I had my own little bathroom, whatever. But it's like I'm putting this money out. Like I couldn't start my job right away. I think I had to wait like a month. So it's like I paid my month rent, and I had to pay another month's rent before I even started working. So my rent was like $800. So that was already $1,600 that went out before I even like got started.
Yeah.
You know, so to not delve on it too long, it's like it didn't take long for that money to disappear, essentially, and not because of reckless spending or whatever. It's just like things do get expensive here, and you're just trying to figure things out. So kind of like oral situation is like I start off with a set amount. And I would say within like 2-3 months, like a lot of it was gone. I don't think I'll have to like recall where a lot of it went. The expenses were just
all over the place.
As far as living situations, I did want to bring up living situations because I think people, and like Tito mentioned his floor story, like I think people like get a misconception of what it might take to actually stay in LA. Because in most states and most cities, you can find yourself a decent little apartment at a reasonable price, and you can kind of make do with that until you can do better. But in LA, it's like the floor story is very common. The couch story is super common.
Right.
So like, how was yours guys' like experiences as far as again, living situation. I guess we'll start with Tito. So Tito, you had the floor situation. You were living on someone's floor on an air mattress for 6 months. Was that like the only, I guess, like crazy living situation you had, or like what other things happened?
It was the same place, but where it got crazier was more people came,
Okay.
and we all slept in the same bed.
How many people we talk about?
Like 3 to 4 sometimes. We all slept
Same
in.
bed?
We slept in on my air mattress together.
Wow.
Because there wasn't a lot of room on the floor, and I had this big air mattress, and so all of us just slept on the air mattress together.
Okay.
So,
Man.
and that was it. Yeah, we all put in money towards rent, and then it was. I was like, we did that for like 3 months, and then we saved up, and then we all got a place together. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, we saved. We saved a lot of money doing that, but I mean, yeah.
Do what you do what you got to do to kind of stay. You
What?
know, like,
Yeah.
Again, like that's not the only. I've heard people who like it's been like 7 to an apartment.
Yeah.
You know, like 7 to a studio,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
I met someone who had 12 people in their apartment. They had 12, but they each were paying like $3.
Yeah,
So,
just to kind of get
Yeah. no, you're something around there.
by. What about you guys? Any?
Well, my story is not as amazing as that.
Amazing.
That sounds.
Did that for 3 months.
But yeah, like I rented a room through Airbnb. The only thing I had to share was a bathroom, and I did that for about a year. Then after that, I went to Northridge and I rented a room again, and I stayed in Northridge for a few months. And then after that, I got a studio, which all you guys know about,
Yeah.
which was very expensive. And I stayed there for a year, and I got a bit smarter, and now I have a 2-bedroom apartment, which I share with a roommate, and it's much cheaper. So out of my story, I made some mistakes and stuff like that, especially at the studio, when I got the studio, because what I was paying for the studio, I'm paying half of that now for the 2-bedroom apartment. So living out here, the best thing to do is find a roommate, somebody you're gonna like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Unless you have money like that, then.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've lived on the couch for 2 months. Thank you, Martha. But yeah, I lived on Martha's couch for 2 months. I didn't have any money, and I didn't lose my apartment, but I had an apartment where my roommate and I, we decided to cancel the lease because there was just too much noise upstairs, and we ended up not really having a place to stay. He went to Florida, and I'm like, I'm not going back to Florida unless it's by choice. And thankfully, Martha, a friend of mine who came through, and she let me stay on her couch with her husband. Did that for 2 months and saved some money, and then I found somewhere else before I found a place with Oro. So yeah, I think what happens is when you're in LA, you have so much. Now people would think that when you come here, you're just going to have to the only thing that you're gonna have to worry about is rent, electricity bills, and or whatever utility bills comes with when you're at a place. But the thing is, there's so much more to that. If you're an actor, you have headshots, you have classes, you have workshops, which, well, that's no longer a thing, but events, a lot of events you have to go to, you have to pay $20, $50 to get in. Talks, when people have conversations, like producers, directors, or wherever in the industry has a conversation, a lot of times there's like an entry fee, $30, and that quickly adds up, and so people don't factor that in when they're thinking of coming here. There's so much more than just rent.
Yeah, I think that was one of the issues for me. It's like I was like, okay, because the place I was at, everything was kind of grouped together at one price, so it wasn't like you pay $800 and then you have to pay like a utility fee. It was everything. So I'm like, okay, everything is covered under one umbrella. I just have to worry about taking care of myself. But like what you said, there's all these little minor expenses that kept coming up.
Yeah.
Your money is just
Headshots, and actors access,
Yes.
voice casting, all that
Oh,
stuff.
and that's not even factor in the friends stuff. That's not even factor in hanging out with friends, feeding yourself, keeping gas in your car because you're gonna be in traffic longer than you expected.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, another big LA thing is lunch. Let's do lunch,
Mm-mm.
right?
I don't do that.
But a lot of
Coffee.
industry people, they want to do lunch. Let's meet over lunch. Let's meet over coffee.
Man,
And then that's expensive.
Yeah.
You know,
Always at lunch.
especially when you first start, when you first get here, you want to meet a lot of people, and everyone's gonna say, "Let's meet over at this restaurant."
It's always expensive
this-
places too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
never Carl's Jr. Like Mickey D's or something. Yeah.
here's
Cool. Was it Aroma? It's like $20 for a chip and iced tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yes, it is. So.
And you can't go there and order just water, and then everyone's like, they give you the stare.
yeah.
I'll say for me, like I don't think I had like any super. Actually, that's not true. So my craziest living experience wasn't necessarily like living on the floor or like sitting on the couch per se. That first place I stayed at when I was renting out a place, the person whose house it was, they decided when certain utilities got used. So
What?
they just like I came there during the summer. They decided when the AC got turned on. They decided what kind of internet we used, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So it was funny because there was another person staying in another room across the hallway,
Yeah.
and she and I became really good friends. And it's like we would talk about this. Cause it's like we'd be in our beds at like 11 at night,
Mm-hmm.
sweating because the owner of the house had cut off the AC for the day.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So it's like you was living home all over.
I was
again.
like, I was living at home with parents who don't care about my well-being.
Wow.
And the internet was probably the closest thing that I've seen to like dial-up in this modern era. I've never seen internet that slow before.
Really?
Wow.
Really.
What were you doing?
I, you know what I do? There was a Starbucks up the street from where I lived. And I used to have to go to Starbucks to do anything of substance.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember you said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I had to use the Starbucks Wi-Fi just to get anything done because our Wi-Fi was
I think I kind of
that
remember that.
slow. That slow, and just that was probably like the most ridiculous thing. Like everything else was just like you're about to be homeless, you need to find a place to live, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But other than that, like I'll never forget. Like it's July, and it's just like I'm sweating right now because I, who contribute to keep this AC running,
Yeah.
cannot turn on the AC.
Hmm.
Like I'm not allowed
Wow.
as a grown man.
Mhm.
So I think that is there anything that you guys would want to tell our viewers just about like what to if one of our viewers wanted to ask you guys what do you think you need to move to LA financially wise, and what do you need to kind of expect for living experience wise, what would you say?
Well, I would say make sure you don't have any financial connections back home. Once you come here, you start fresh. You have a good budget, and you get to work right away. Don't try and live off of your savings. If you can't, if you didn't get to save that much, you still can do it, because I did it. And like I said, after I paid for all the stuff I had to pay for, I was left with $50, but I got right back to work, and that's how I was able to make it and stuff like that. But just have a good budget and save as much money as you can, and don't have any connections financially back home.
When you say any connections financially, what do you mean?
Like obligations? You mean?
Obligations, bills, and stuff like that. Because when I left Florida, I still had bills back there I had to pay for as well.
Okay, like bills are continuously paying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I had to like weed them out.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense.
Mhm.
When I got here, and I was like, I can't be paying bills there and here as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I would say just be focused, man. I know, like I was saying, I know people who've come here with $10,000 who already left.
Yeah.
One, I don't know if it's because they try to live the lavish lifestyle by getting a
Yes.
fancy apartment,
Yes.
because they want their friends to come over, and then Just like get yourself a.
You do not need a Lexus when you get here.
Yeah,
you do not need a Lexus.
Get yourself a decent place. Just don't try and do anything lavish. Like this is, if you're if you come here for the right reasons when you're about the craft, you're not trying to be famous or anything like that. Just get yourself a decent place to live. Save money. I mean, I came here with 900. After that, I had no money. So just know that when you come here, try to hit the ground running. Like get straight to work. You know.
Yeah.
Try to be on set or whatever it is that you're doing. Music. Get to. I'm not sure how the music industry works, but get you work at studios or whatever it is. Don't come and just kind of hang out. Let's I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
Like I was here for a year. I did not go to the observatory, the Griffith Observatory.
Really?
Yeah.
A year?
It wasn't until my sister came to see me. I was like, man, I was so focused and so like on this linear and very narrow path of like I need to make it, I need to work. I didn't even take time out to go visit places. It wasn't until my sister came in, I was just, man, I didn't go anywhere really.
Yeah. You gotta have the time. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do all of that stuff right away.
Yeah.
Because your career is very important. You just need to structure it very carefully and, just have a purpose. Know why you're here.
That's true. I think that you do have to kind of strike a balance between like, like you're not moving to LA necessarily for LA's sake.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you didn't move to LA to be a tourist necessarily. It's like if you're a person that's trying to get into the entertainment industry, it's like a lot of the the trappings of LA will always be there.
It's gonna be here.
The observatory is not going anywhere, that kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, I would agree. Like, don't feel bad because people always give me a side eye. Like I have yet to go to the Santa Monica Pier. Always get a side eye. Yeah.
Oh, we gotta go.
I know.
You haven't seen the Ferris wheel?
I have not seen the Ferris wheel.
Go on a date there. It's fun.
I have not seen the Ferris wheel, but it's just like at the time, it's like as I look back on my time that I've been here, it's like I've done some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like that has not taken priority over things that had to take priority at the time.
Yeah.
Like it's always gonna be there. It's not going anywhere.
And my mom always, I talk to my mom every day, and she always says, "Don't forget why you came here." She goes, "You didn't come here to play games.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you left everything. Family's in Florida. Comfort is in Florida." She goes, don't forget that you came here to achieve something, and just don't play games. Don't forget why."
Yeah, don't get into the LA hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people get into, they think they have to live this certain lifestyle to make it, and that's not necessarily the case. And the social media hype, social media, Instagram followers, and all that stuff. That's probably a different subject. But anyway, that's just something so different from what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're actors, and then that's social media, influencers.
Yeah.
So we'll probably talk about that.
Oh, we will.
Oh, social media?
Yeah.
Yo.
I would say financially, if I was going to give people advice, I would say lower your expectations.
Yes.
Oh, by a lot.
Yeah, like lower your expectations.
Here's the ground, shove it deep down there, like.
And like I'm glad we brought all this up because like one of the things that people don't realize about LA, and unless you live in a very similar city, is that everything is old. Everything is made in like the 50s and the 60s, but you're getting charged like modern day prices.
Yep.
So you're thinking like, okay, even if I pay a little bit extra for a studio or extra for an apartment, I'm getting kind of like this modern style living, which is not the case at all. It's like right now we happen to be shooting in an apartment that has central AC. It took me 2 years, people. It took me 2 years to live in an apartment that has central air conditioning.
Whew. Man.
So it's like, and that's not for a lack of effort. It's because a lot of buildings just don't have it. They don't have it.
And they're proud of it.
And they're proud of it. We got a wall unit for $1,400.
They love taking our money. Look, we poor actors.
So like, I would say like, be ready to kind of like humble yourself.
Humble yourself.
Yeah, humble yourself.
Humble.
Be okay with a modest lifestyle, at least for now, until you can afford better.
Yeah.
And make do with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
Okay, so I can only imagine what the editing of this is going to look like, but I want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode of The RoundTable. This is Anthony Grant,
Oral Ellis,
Tito,
Rogers,
Rogers,
and Cedric DeMornay.
Thank you guys for joining us.